Hello everyone, welcome back to Scrape Metal and Roll, the Limited Adhesion podcast. And this is a very special episode for a couple of reasons. Number one, I only have one guest. And number two, we're having drinks. So, I've been trying to get this person on for a very long time. He's been ducking me, but now he's agreed to be on the podcast. But we thought we'd have a couple of drinks because we are going to go way back and we're going to dive into some quite deep bits about the league and stuff because, my guest is the person who's made all this possible. He's the creator himself. It's Gavin Kelly. How you doing, Jules?
Good. Yeah, I mean, cool. I was just thinking, people won't hear this anyway because it'll be rubbish and it won't go out. But yeah, so there's no pressure.
No. Yeah. So what are you drinking?
I am drinking some nice, sweet pina colada cocktails.
Very nice. It is Friday night to set the scene to everyone. I've just had a couple of passion fruit martinis and now I'm on the beers because I fancied a little change. But let's dive in, shall we? Why don't we start with actually tell us a bit about yourself and then we'll talk about how we met and then about the league itself. Should we do that?
Yeah, what do you want to know?
In the beginning.
Yeah, no, you can't go all the way back to the Big Bang. That's like a long way. So,
well, it's a long.
Be more specific than that. I'm an old grumpy man who runs a sim league for some reason.
I met you in 1997.
Yes.
How did you get from Bicester to Brighton?
Right. I mean, Brighton was the only university that would have me. And they only let me in through, I think I got less grades than they wanted, but they let me in anyway, because I guess they didn't have standards. and I was let so late that there was nowhere for me to stay, so I went down there and actually had to find a place to stay. There was no room in halls, so I ended up staying with this old couple who had another lodger. Yes, it was a very weird situation. So that was the first year anyway. And then I guess after the first lecture, I came out. I didn't know a single person, and nobody from Bicester went to Brighton University. So I just looked around, and I don't know. I guess you must have looked non-threatening, and you were on your own. So I wandered over and said hi.
How mistaken you were!
And then within half an hour, which was about the time it took us to walk down to the pier, we were on a karting track.
We cycled down, didn't we?
Did we cycle?
Yeah, we both had our bikes at the time, so we both cycled.
Before mine got nicked.
Bike? Yeah, mine got nicked in stages, didn't it? We used to go and visit it every few weeks to see which bits were left until they finally chainsawed it off the railings. So.
I thought that was mine. Maybe it happened to both. Mine was...
I think it happened to both.
Yeah, kind of picked apart at uni when it was locked up.
It's exactly the same, yeah.
But yeah, no, it's odd that we were immediately on the track together, and here we are 30-odd years later, still doing the same thing.
Yeah. So it was 1997, so this is 2024, so we're talking 27 years. Jesus Christ, that's a long time.
I said 30-odd years.
Yeah, more or less, yeah. But yeah, so we became friends very quickly, didn't we? Bonding over Oasis, the Beatles. Beer, mostly.
Vodka orange.
Yeah. Do you... Yeah, so we both went to that first night out, didn't we? Down at the Escape.
Yeah.
And I got so drunk that I threw up and I was off beer for several months, and you guys were trying to nurse me through my hangover in uni the next day. But then it meant that I wouldn't drink beer for months, and then we did this pub crawl thing where you had to get a stamp on the back of this manila folder.
Yeah, so we decided it would be a good idea to do vodka and oranges.
That's it, yeah, double vodka and oranges.
Yeah.
And you were absolutely wasted.
Yeah.
That was a
common theme, me being wasted, you throwing up.
Yep. But we didn't actually get... Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, that hasn't changed either.
Yeah. I don't know if people know this, but we went to Dom's wedding last year, and I got very, very drunk. And I have a hiatus hernia, which means I had to take Lanzaprol every day. And I got the heartburn during the night and ended up sort of having the black sick of acidness, nastiness. But on the way back down the M1, I was sat in the back of a hire car that we'd rented, and I started to feel quite ill, and I threw up over Jules and his wife. So
I'm just glad it was a hire car and not my car.
I know. God, I was driving back just like dry spray in the damn.
This is very interesting to us, but I don't know how interesting it's going to be to other people, so I'm interested on the feedback if this gets released.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's skip. Well, we didn't get the T-shirts from the pub crawl, by the way. We didn't finish it.
No, we didn't make it. I recall us sitting on the stairs of an underpass. Yeah. That's what's in my head from that, yeah.
Yeah. Various nights like that used to happen quite a lot around 97, 98 for us. I remember flagging down what I thought was a taxi trying to get you home one night, and it was actually a police car. It looked at me very oddly, so yeah. Okay, so then we both dropped out of uni. I stayed in Brighton and got a job, whereas what did you do?
I came home and eventually got a job. I had a few temping jobs. I remember I was fired from a temping job at the Budweiser packing factory because they made us come in when they didn't think there was a shipment, and they made us sit around until 2 a.m. And me and a permanent employee decided to wander off and go and sleep in one of the cabs of the lorries, and that was apparently frowned upon. But I was the temp, so I was got rid of, and they kept the other person.
Wow.
Yeah, so I lost various temp jobs over those years, and eventually, found employment, and I've not really moved from the area since. No.
But then, I was going to say that obviously we lost touch for a few years, but we reconnected via, was it? Didn't
we run it?
United, I think.
Yeah, but didn't we run into each other at Ozfest?
Yes, yeah, we did. Yeah,
in Milton Keynes, of all places. Yeah, so we were just going to see Ozzy and other bands. Yes, wasn't the Foo Fighters there? Yeah.
Saw the Foos. We saw Monster Magnet. Saw Coal Chamber, which was one of the bands I was really looking forward to seeing. So that was a good time, but very weird just run into someone you know in the middle of
a mosh pit. Yeah.
Hello, mate.
I don't know, that mosh pits as well as a running theme, so that's probably appropriate.
Yes, yeah. So, but then obviously we reconnected online via Friends United and Facebook and things, and we used to chat on Facebook, and you'd started up RC car racing. Tell us about that.
Well,
because that's with another LOA member.
I was dragged into this by Mr. Miller, who's very good at it. And I went to a few rounds and had a go, but I wasn't very good, and my car was quite unreliable. I did it, but it was quite a long trek on a Sunday morning to drive down to London to race the same circuit. I think I would have enjoyed it more if there was more difference, so that we got a different circuit every week. But I guess outdoor permanent little RC tracks are not particularly common, I would guess, since that was the closest one to us. And it seemed
there's one in Shoreham. It's not far from Brighton. There's one in Shoreham. It's not far away.
Yeah, but Brighton is a lot further away for me than London.
Have moved away.
Yeah, well, I came home.
Yeah.
I did that with Rob for a bit. It's fun. But it's a bit more difficult. I prefer to be in the thing that's racing rather than watching it from above.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a number of RC cars as well. Not competition grade like you and Rob were racing, but...
Well, yours is... you've got off-road ones, haven't you, and whatnot?
I've got a Grasshopper, which Dave Lyon and co bought me, actually, so another LOA connection. That was my birthday present many years ago. I've got a Subaru Impreza four-wheel drive. I've got a number, basically. So, yeah, most of them are off-road and monster trucks and stuff. But yeah, there's another thing that we all kind of sort of, hey, I like that and you like that. So it was nice to have something that, even after uni and the intensive drinking and music thing, that we had something else to bond over.
Yeah, so, I mean, we knew we liked motorsport because I remember you trying to get Grand Prix 3 working on some thing that you'd found from somewhere. I don't know. You'd got this PC that you were trying to get Grand Prix.
I bought that PC. God, yeah.
Working on it in halls, and that was a side of you I hadn't seen before. I didn't know that you had any interest in anything computer-wise. I just knew about
engineering degree.
Yeah, but we flunked it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Still one of my big regrets.
I thought that was like, just a job thing, not like something that you would do outside of that. You seemed to just be all into the partying.
I came from a very restrictive childhood, to be fair, so...
it's unsurprising you went a bit off the rails.
Yeah, completely. And meeting lots of friends and things outside of university and stuff, and... Yeah, so I missed my second semester from year one. So when I came into repeating that second semester, everyone else was now in year two. And then when I came on to year two, everyone else was off doing their sandwich year, the gap year. So I kind of needed that support network to get through. And without it, I flunked easily. So, yeah. Yeah. But then, obviously, many years later, we were talking about, we were sort of keeping in touch, weren't we? And then I actually won £1,000 on PokerStars, not by playing poker, but doing some free spin stuff. And it was like, oh, I've got some money now. And Dave had given me a go on Project Cars 2 at his house in VR. And it was just like, this is what I'd always wanted. Because we used to play Formula 1 in 2002. And I had my little Logitech wheel. But I hated the fact that I couldn't turn my head and I couldn't see into the corner, and obviously with those horrible plasticky pedals, because you used to race with the same wheel, didn't you?
Yeah, there was two versions, a yellow handle and a red handle. I don't know what the difference was, but I had the red one. Yeah,
I had the red one, yeah. But it felt, so I as much as I loved having a wheel and sort of driving in a race and stuff, it didn't have that realism and that feel for me, so I didn't get that. I didn't get that bite and that sort of like, this is what I want to do as a hobby until driving in VR. And then it was just like, this is what I've always wanted. So yeah, when I got that money, I was able to buy my first new PC for a long time, and I got a Rift and I got a Logitech Driving Force Pro. So I started driving, and Dave and I and Gary Jones and Stephen Batty were all on Project Cars 2, which is kind of, start of where the LOA sort of starts to form.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us? Tell us your side of that bit.
I had the Logitech Driving Force something else similar to the Pro. I can't remember. I mean, so you've been spoilt, basically. You were just in the VR straight away, whereas I raced a bit with one of our members, James, everyone knows as Bear, which we raced in an offshoot of our Halo clan, Helljumpers. So we made the Helljumpers Racing League. And we raced, not 2002, but the Formula 1 Challenge 99 to 2001, I think it was. Or 98 to 2002, whatever. It was the predecessor to R Factor. And we raced that with mods. So it was obviously from earlier, but we put the 2004 and the 2005 mods on it to race seasons. And there was a handful of us that did that. But, I mean, it was never more than like 6 to 8 people. And then I kind of just forgot about sim racing until we started the LOA. I did it all single player, rather than playing multiplayer. But yeah, I've always been into sim racing. Back in the old days on the Commodore 64 and the Amiga, I used to play on Pit Stop, and on the Amiga I had Jeff Cramman's Grand Prix, which I loved and was amazing. Doing like the 1991 Formula 1 season with keyboard controls. Yeah.
Dave always used to do keyboard as well, it's mad.
Well, there wasn't really an option. Not that I was aware of anyway. We didn't have the internet back in those days for anything else. I mean, you could use joystick, but I don't think it was as good. It didn't feel as good as using the keyboard for that. I mean, you didn't need a proper wheel back in those days because it wasn't the realism that you get these days.
Yeah. Because Dave used to do IndyCar. That IndyCar game and the Papyrus one. And I used to drive on that a bit as well. But as I say, for me, you're on keyboard and it's those like blocky old graphics, and I never got the feeling that I was really driving a car like you do in a modern sim. So it didn't give me that kind of. That's a fizzy one.
Yeah, they do fizz. My imagination's always filled in the gaps, because the other thing I've always been into was flight sims. And those early flight sims, you had to really use the imagination to fill in the gaps, which I did. And now it's incredible. We got VR, and you got like realistic graphics that look super real. And and if you want to, and you've got no budget there's no limit to your budget, you can have motion rigs and force feedback through your pedals and your seat and everything. It's crazy. There's no limit to it.
Exactly, yeah. But it you can be so immersed in it until the cat jumps on your lap and
digs its claws in your balls.
Yeah. But I genuinely do feel when we're in these races, I feel like I'm there at the track. It feels really immersive to me. I love that. And it's probably when I start sort of thinking outside of that and thinking that I'm a middle-aged man sitting in a in a seat in a house, and I'm not really like in Interlagos or whatever. That's probably when the race goes wrong for me. But that and I think it's also I get that feeling of when I crash, it means something to me. So
we all want to do well.
Yeah. I put my dad in my rig a few months ago. He's in his 70s now, and he came off he was driving the Lotus 79 at Brands Hatch, and when he came off at Druids and he went into the barriers, and he literally cried out and put his hands over it, like put his arms up, because he was expecting to hurt himself. So yeah, and that was with the Rift as well, not even with the Quest. It would have blown his bloody mind. So
I feel that the 3D effect and everything, as it looks like you're in there. Like when I first put it on for a flight sim and the canopy comes down, and you feel like I'm kind of claustrophobic in here now. Yes. I feel the feeling goes away after a while as you get used to it, but it's still there to a degree. So yeah, just trying it out for a first time and going and crashing into a barrier, it's going to be quite real feeling.
Yes, yeah. Even now, when I was. I put my TCR into the wall the other day on frustration when I ran off wide, and even then I was like having to tell my mind this isn't going to hurt.
It might hurt if you held onto the wheel and it spins, but
yeah, well, I've only got the CSL Elite, so it's not too bad. But
yeah.
But you started on iRacing and you're quite an early adopter, weren't you? When did you start?
Was it 2008 or something? I know I'm one of the earliest in the LOA. I'd have to look on my account. But yeah, I didn't play it much. Yes, you play it. But I dabbled in it. It was then when it was all browser. You loaded into the browser, and there wasn't no fancy UI anymore. And it kind of felt like, weird. Because it wasn't like other games at that time. I don't remember other games where I used to launch them from a browser. That would be a browser game rather than a game.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I played it for a bit, and then I dropped it until a little bit before we formed the LOA, where there was a bunch of us in another Discord, a flight sim Discord, that were doing racing on the side, and we did some R Factor and R Factor 2. And then somebody else was like, hey, shall we form a team to do some endurance races? So I was doing that with Will Burnett, Figmo, and someone else, Warrior, who hasn't raced with us yet, but he may do at some point. He is actually still in the league, so at some point he may join in with us. And we did a bit of endurance, and then I think the conversation then between us happened, and kind of we've resurrected that as a base to form the LOA.
Yeah, because as I said, there was like me, Dave, Gary, Steve, and Lawrence as well. Actually, we were all racing because Lawrence lives down the road from me. If you guys don't know, Lawrence Aaron Jenkins, the Ledge, we were all driving on Project Cars 2, and then I sold my Logitech wheel because I wanted to save up, and I started selling some slot cars because I wanted to have a Fanatec. I wanted something a bit better. So I saved up me pennies, and when I bought my wheel and my first rig frame, that's when COVID happened. I think lockdown sort of happened quite quickly after that.
Yeah.
And then you and I were talking, and you came over and drove on Project Cars 2 with us, but you hated it, didn't you?
Well, we wanted to drive together, but you guys done like 1 million laps on it. And so I was like miles off you guys. And you didn't race so much. You did a bit of racing, but mostly you seemed to just do hot laps. And so, yeah, it wasn't really my cup of tea. And I already had this subscription to iRacing and some of the content. So I kind of just pitched that to you. I'm just looking actually now. So I started in 2011 and I did some races for about a year, to 2012. And then I didn't touch it again until 2019, April of that year. So that was the endurance stuff. And then I guess we were around August that year then when we started doing our stuff.
May 2020.
May 2020. Okay, so yeah,
it
was a bit after that. So I'd been back into it for about a year, just occasionally doing endurance stuff.
But it was funny because the choices were effectively, we can try and race in Project Cars 2, which you didn't like, or we could try and race in the sort of almost I suppose it was the Rolls-Royce option because it was the most expensive.
It did require you all to start paying monthly, and I mean it's not much. That it's a small price to pay compared to all the content you have to buy.
Yeah, yeah, it is really. I mean, like at the time I was a bit like, oh, this is crazy. Then I just went, oh, I'm doing it, and I bought my sub. Just
buy a 2-year sub and then forget
That's
about
what
it
I did,
for 2
yeah.
years. Exactly.
Got the 2-year discounted sub, and then and it is just a world apart. It's so much. I went back to drive Project Cars 2 last year, and I couldn't drive it. It was horrible. It was just like the feeling was all wrong. It just didn't feel good at all. And I was like, now I get what you were saying. It's like, this is shit.
You get used to it.
But it was what I liked about Project Cars 2 was the fact that all the content was there, and you could the variety that you could drive was just incredible. You know, you could drive like Group C's around Spa, or then you could drive a Ginetta Junior around Cadwell Park, and just everything was there, and it was like it was really
I get
exciting.
that, and I feel like you get that too in AC.
Yes, yeah, you do.
It's just that you have all the extra hassle of setting up the servers yourselves.
I've never felt that. I've never felt like AC. I mean, maybe it's because we only drove, like, when we've done it, we've only driven silly modded cars and things like the sofa and the bread van.
No, we did some like some old touring stuff around some tracks. So we had the Volvos, we had like some turbo like Ford things and stuff, old fun cars.
Even though the feedback didn't feel quite right to me, I don't know.
Yeah, again, I feel it probably feels just different.
Yeah,
So
I
you're
need
used
to
to
tinker
iRacing.
with it. Yes, yeah. But so then obviously Lawrence, Dave, Gary, me, Stephen Batty, we all came over to iRacing, and you had
Rob along.
Jim,
Rob and Jim, yeah.
And Will Figmo, obviously, who we stole the Discord off, really.
yeah, he's given it to me now recently.
Yeah.
But we set it up together and was like, well, we've already got this, we may as well use it.
Yeah. So we did our first test race, which was the Radicals around Silverstone Legacy, within the first week of me starting on iRacing. And then the first league race was like a week later, wasn't it? Or 2 weeks later?
Baptism fire.
Oh, God, yeah. It's absolutely mad.
Yeah, it's a quite powerful car for like a rookie series, I guess.
Now, do you think we chose the wrong car?
No.
Because we wanted something good, we wanted something fast, and realistically, that was the other thing though. We wanted it to be free content for that whole first season.
Yeah.
So
I think
a lot of Rovals.
I think the second season the Skippy felt a bit slow, but
Oh, I loved
it gave such good racing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe we should have started with the Skippy, but yeah.
And then we'd have had to buy it and buy
It's just-
tracks. And
We'd had to have bought one car. We could have still run it on all of the same 3 tracks that we picked.
true.
So it wouldn't have been that much of an investment, to be honest. But no, I think the Radical was great. It took a while for you guys to get on top of it, but
Well, like in the last month.
yeah,
Literally, someone said to me, "Gosh, you love that Radical car." And I'm like, to be honest with you, I really hated it when we drove it because I was so terrible with it. And I said, it's only now that I'm starting to get on top of it. And even then I spin a lot. But yeah, I get it. The car is incredible to drive. But it did take me a bloody long time to really master it. Yeah. But yeah, so I think the thing I wanted to emphasise to people is that where we've got to with the LOA has been a massive accident. It wasn't intentional at all. The whole point of it was just to be me and you wanted to race together. We had friends on both sides who wanted to race together, so that's why the tagline has always been friends and friends of friends racing together. That's where we've sort of come from.
yeah. I mean, what was it? So Tranta joined with us after after 3 racing,
through
and that
Rob,
was
yeah.
through Rob, and then he brought along also Tony Hanking, wasn't it?
Tony Hankin, yeah.
And so it was just people that knew other people, and then I guess we just left the league open and visible and able to people to apply to. So just gradually, people noticed and kind of joined in.
Yeah.
It's just, hi, can I come and race with you? And we're like, yeah, sure. Why not? More the merrier.
Because obviously you made a video for the first race, which you can still find on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, I felt we should have some kind of thing for the drivers to look at to see their races back. Because I used to race, obviously, in the old league with the F1 Challenge, and one time Ben, who we also knew at uni, you remember Ben?
I do, yeah.
He put a video together for our race, and he spent quite a lot of effort doing it, but it looked really good. It was just a shame it was Hungary, so there wasn't much overtaking. But it was nice to watch it back. And so when I did another league, the No Age Racing League, which did R Factor full length F1 races.
Bit discriminatory against people with HIV though.
Oh dear. I just offered to make videos for them, and they were like, okay, cool. And so I just put the videos together for those. It was a right nightmare to do it in R Factor, but it's nice. The drivers get to watch their moves on track with, standings at the end and whatnot. And so, yeah, I just did it to some music. So it was kind of little music videos with highlights. So I felt it would be nice when we have our league to, again, do the same. And iRacing allows you to do it much easier. And also the capture software is better and the PCs are better, so you can do a better resolution than it was before. So it's a nice little memento. You win the race, you can relive it by watching it back or whatever. Or, some great battle you had, it's on screen and you can watch it like it's on the TV.
Yeah.
And so it was just for the members, and then you were like, but it's got to have a commentary.
Well, no, it wasn't me, actually. That's the weird thing. It was my dad.
Yes, but it was via you that it got to us.
You did when you did the round 2, which was at Okayama, and you had a little voiceover of the grid, and you scrolled through the cars, and Gavin Kelly, and then you did the video, and it was just. But there were no. I don't think we didn't have SDK then, did we? So.
Oh no, that was a long time before SDK.
Yeah, so we didn't have any captioning on who the cars were, and I just sent my dad this YouTube video, and he's like, "Well, that's nice, but I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea who's who."
Indeed.
So
yes.
I did. Is that the one I did a commentary on?
Yes. I think I've uploaded it actually.
You did, yeah. You put a version of it out.
So it's just you on your Billy-No Mate's lonesome,
it's
talking about some cars.
Yeah. because I'm in the house, and actually I've moved back into the same room now, but in the house. But where I was, and I just had a little headset on, and I was like, "Here comes Wednesday going through the corner," and it was all very like hesitant and not very flamboyant commentary at all. But then Jim Kimberley, who was in the league, obviously he said he was up for doing commentary as well. So from the next race at Summit Point, it was the pair of us doing comms, and that's kind of where we sort of started doing this whole having commentary and things. But your video making as well went on a massive evolution. I mean, it was very, very rapid as you brought in.
Yeah, it's been a very organic. It's just been growing like a monster. So back then I had to pause it every time I changed the camera angle, and then make a new clip, and then pause it again. It was very labor of love, very intensive work. It's a lot easier these days, but we were learning what looks good, what should we do. I think I had some kind of program that would scan through the replay and try and make all the best camera angles and output a video at one point. I think Stephen Maxwell's dabbled with something similar recently, actually last season. But yeah, we've been through lots of iterations of what works and what doesn't, and some of it took a long time, many hours of work. But I'm happy with the evolution. I thought, and then season 2 as well, where Jim was doing his track introductions. I mean, that was the thing he did with the little overlay and the circles, and if we'd raced on the track, he had a little picture of action in that corner. I mean, that was just mind-blowingly good. Yeah, it was all inspired, wasn't it? Because we're all F1 fans, and so, his like Crofty's voiceover with the this is the track, and here's what happened in 2012 between so and so, etc. It was kind of all inspired by that. We wanted to kind of emulate that, and again for the drivers.
Yes.
We didn't expect anybody outside the league to have any interest. It's just the drivers themselves, like getting to see themselves like they're on, in an F1 race.
Exactly, yeah. And season 2 was when I registered the limitofadhesion.com website, because I thought it would be fun to just do articles and write about things. Cause
it's one of my favourite things, and what I miss is the articles you used to do.
Yeah. Because I used to write race reports for my slot car racing, and obviously slot car racing got suspended during COVID because it was group activity and things, and not ideal. It's nice to go back actually this year and be racing again, but I always used to write the reports, and it was always, I had a rule that you always had to mention every single driver, try and come up with something positive, even if they'd had a terrible race. You kind of made them feel good about themselves. So, and that's kind of where the article stuff came from. But then also it was like I could really have a bit of fun with the LOA stuff. So I was Rob won the first Skippy race, and I thought that I did an article where he was forced to deny that it wasn't Bottas driving the car.
I like the little tabloid sensationalism. It was good.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a heck of a lot of fun with that, obviously, yeah. And then Jim and I started doing our Grand Prix Grandstand thing as well. If you search for Grand Prix Grandstand on YouTube, you can find some interviews that Jim and I did with Oscar Piastri, Joe Wanyu, Felipe Drugovich, several of the W Series drivers. There's quite a few on there which were really cool. So yeah, nice to talk to a couple of F1 stars just before they made it to the big leagues. So yeah, kind of cool. But it was that was around the time then that Jim sort of took a step back from the LOA because he was so busy, as we stepped into the Formula Renault, which is when you joined the Combox, wasn't it?
That's when I was dragged into the Combox, yes.
Yeah.
Can't believe we didn't have anybody else available.
Because it's worth mentioning that you're quite introverted, I think that's fair to say.
No, yeah, I'm very introverted and shy. Because introvert doesn't necessarily mean shy, it just means worn out by social interaction. It can be an introvert that isn't shy at all. But yeah, no, introvert and shy at the same time. So I don't know how you got me to do the commentary, and I really don't know how there was nobody better available. But apparently there wasn't.
But it's worked really well ever since. So I mean, we've done seven. We're on a 7th season together, aren't we? So, and 7 seasons? No, we've done 7 seasons.
Yeah,
we're on our 8th.
I've joined in. I don't know, on GT3 and touring cars, and yeah, I mean, it's just a chat with a friend about a race, so you don't need to think about it any other way.
Yeah, you did say that you felt that it kind of disarms you a bit because you're not thinking about it so much.
Yeah. It's fine. I'm sure it'd be different if we had thousands of viewers. I'd maybe thinking about that, but we don't.
No. And the Formula Renault, though, which was our 3rd car, that was really the catalyst to the YouTube channel going a bit mental and our numbers really going mental as well.
Yeah, you started doing hot lap videos, so you're promoting us to more than just the people who are in our races.
It was a byproduct, to be fair, because the whole reason for the hot lap videos was to help our drivers. I mean, I'll be honest with you, when we were doing the Formula Renault, I didn't even know how to trail brake. So I was pretty comfortable in the Skippy and I was fast. And then when we came into the Formula Renault, I just was all at sea and I struggled with it so much. And so Dave was uploading the laps for me and I was putting these videos together just primarily to help myself, but then also to help the rest of our drivers so they could sort of see what they need to do. And as I was doing that, I started noticing sort of repeatable patterns, across the different tracks, and I was like, he's doing that, why is he doing that? And so I kind of put those together, and that's when we made that first sort of 6 tips video.
Is that like our most popular video? Or
it is, yeah.
It is, yeah. Still 8,500 views.
Yeah, and it was realistically, it was. I mean, you obviously did all the video work. I wrote the script and recorded that, and we tweaked it a few times, didn't we, to get it right? But
yeah,
so a nice collaboration there. But it was basically just to help the people in the league. But then, as you say, it kind of exploded, and people noticed it, which was really nice. And I think we've been really fortunate with that. The Ford one I did recently, that's had over 3,000 views now in the space of a month, so that's been incredible.
That's nice. Really well. It's good.
Yeah,
it's good that we're helping. It's crazy. I mean, you look at where we started with, like, what is it, 8 of us or something on the grid? 9?
Yep.
I can't remember. And we've got like over 500 people in our Discord, and you're getting 3,000 views in a month, and our league's got like 130 odd drivers in it. It's crazy. Did not expect any of this.
No.
And it's a nightmare sometimes to run it, but I think I've said, I can't remember if I said it to you, but I said it in a couple of places recently, I just couldn't imagine a Sunday evening without doing some racing with the LOA.
No, me neither. It feels very weird when I have to miss one. I remember being on the Isle of Wight for one of the races and just really like sitting on a sofa in a chalet bunk pining for...
Like,
for my race.
If I'm at home and there's a race on, it would be very odd for me to just not take part. So yeah, it's kind of, it feels like right. Like Sunday roast for me was a Sunday thing. You have to have a roast on a Sunday. I have to have a LOA race on a Sunday evening.
And it does. I mean, it's funny because it really affects me. Like the highs and lows really mean something to me because it's the LOA and because it's sort of, our friends, and I really feel like I've made a lot of new friends through this league, and some guys I haven't met yet. I plan to, but it's really nice to I race these people. We talk to them online all the time, and we talk to them on the podcast. But everyone feels like friends, and therefore, when something goes wrong and I hit someone or something, then I do.
If something goes wrong, or there's an argument or whatever, it feels personal.
Big.
Big.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a Lakes meet coming up where a bunch of us are getting together. Last year, a bunch of us rented a chalet in French France to see the Le Mans 24-hour together. It's kind of like, we've gate crashed Dom.
Gate crashed his wedding.
Gate crashed his
we
wedding.
did.
Gate crashed his house to give him a bunch of stuff.
That's true. And we went karting as well.
And who else is coming? Did you say Rich?
Rich Meester's
is coming over this year, and Alex is coming over to Sweden.
Yeah, so it's really nice that people are sort of arranging to meet each other and catching up with each other. So, yeah, if anyone does want to come up and meet Rich in Blackfriars in London, the event is on the Discord. Or if you want to come up to the lakes and you're not aware of it yet, then do give us a shout and let us know. It would be great to see.
Yeah, we've got space for like 30 plus people, and I think we've only got like 15 or so.
Yeah,
so
and we're all going
plenty of
go-karting as well. So
yeah, we're going to have drinks, barbecue, go-karts, and talk racing probably. I mean, I can't see how that wouldn't happen.
But I wanted to say as well, like, because I vividly remember the final race of LOA Season 1, which was... because we did it on free content, we kind of ran out of content, so the final race was the IndyCar around Daytona with no damage because we were too bad at oval racing.
Yes.
And I got in some collisions. I wrecked a couple of people's races, and
you got in the way as a back marker, I recall.
I did, yeah. Because I just took it. I got really. I took it really personally that I'd upset my friends and stuff, and they were like, "What are you doing?" And Emily came down. She was like, "What are you doing?" And it was like 3:00 in the morning, and I was sitting on the floor in the lounge, just surrounded by empty cans. And I'm like, I've been a really bad friend. Racing means something to me, yeah.
Yeah. Well, racing, and I don't. You wouldn't get this way in public, would you? In a public race,
no.
You wouldn't see these people again, probably. But
no, exactly.
Yeah, in the league, it matters because you have to talk to them the next day on the Discord.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been really refreshing seeing people that recently just like, yeah, sorry, my bad, I cocked up or whatever. That's been really nice.
Well, it's very hard to admit it. I mean, you can even, before a penalty's announced, you can go like, yeah, that was my fault. But when you actually see it in black and white that it's your fault, it kind of hurts a bit, and you're like, eh. But you just get to...
Well, like that time, there was a time around about the start of the first TCR season where I just kept hitting you. And it was ridiculous how many races I came into contact with you. And it was almost just like, because it was a championship where we were close on track together and we hadn't had that for quite a while, have we? Like the Lotus and Formula 3, you were considerably quicker than me, so it was nice to actually be battling on track again. So
yeah, I mean, well, obviously you got your first win in the LOA by bashing me out of the way, didn't you, in the skip?
You cocked the corner up, to be fair.
You bashed me out of the way. I was in the lead. But yeah.
You took such a weird line.
And we clashed each other at Spa. You came off worse on that one.
Yes, yeah, that was unfortunate. Yeah, break my drive.
So yeah, we did race closely in the skip for a bit.
Yes,
much closer than we did in Radical.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there are some people that we've met along the way who are really important, and I think we should acknowledge their contribution to the league, because these are the people who have just sort of come in and taken the league to another level and evolved it.
Yeah.
And stuff, so.
When did Adam show up?
Adam showed up in the Formula Renault days, back into that, I think.
Yeah, in his dreadful looking B car.
Don't say it. The Rumblebee is...
The Rumblebee car is great, but the logo was dog poop.
I love it. Every time I want to giggle, I go back through the LOA
Just look at that B.
channel. It's just the bit where you say, "Tell me you spent more than 15 minutes on this." It just cracks me up every time.
The actual look on the B's face cracks me up. But anyway, Adam, I guess you would say, would be the first one, because he went, "Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we race as well GT3 cars?" And then we were like, "Okay, you set that up then." And he did.
Which was really funny, because we'd moved to fortnightly racing to make it easier for us turning around the videos and the race reports on the website and all this sort of stuff. And then Adam comes in and goes, "Hey, we should do GT3," and all of a sudden it's you were back to doing like weekly videos.
Yeah, but you know,
you kind of got stiff.
I just always ends up doing it. So I'm really grateful actually these days that I don't have to do all the videos. Thank you, Maxwell.
Yeah, Stephen Maxwell is one of the most recent of the amazing heroes of the league, who has taken over the video production for TCR, Sprint and Endurance as we call them now. So yeah, he's an absolute champion of the league. I want to shout out Merrin and Tor, obviously, because they're part of the admin group. And let's not forget Mr. Parker himself, Don Parker, who, when he joined, so Dom joined just as Adam was sort of stepping back, and Dom does talk about this on the Prime Interlagos episode. He was saying that as Adam was sort of stepping back because of his job, and I think that's when the Ukraine war kicked off and stuff, or some big crisis, global crisis, meant that Adam's job took over his life. And so as Adam was stepping back, Dom was joining, and he sort of stepped in, took over GT3 video production, running the GT3 league, and then he sort of launched TCR. So Dom has been really instrumental in making the league what it is today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the GT3 has been our most successful series, hasn't it? We've had the most on the grid in a GT3 race. Like, I don't think that record's been beaten yet. So, great for Adam for laying the foundations and doing the early seasons, and for Dom for picking up the reins when Adam dropped away. So I don't know if Adam sticks his nose in and has a look around once in a while, but he's still in the Discord as far as I'm aware.
He is, yeah. I'd love to get him back, actually, because he came down to my house one time and had a couple of beers with me, and it was really nice to see him. And obviously he came to our kart race as well. And of
course he... did he not have Ollie in his team? He kind of brought Ollie under his wing, put him into the Rumblebees, that little e-sporter that we know and love.
Yeah. Well, and he had Dave in the Rumblebees at one point as well.
Indeed.
But yeah, and as well as that...
mustn't forget the Weavers.
Well, I was just getting onto the Weavers. God, mind control.
Okay, you talk, all this crackers.
They do fizz, man. That's crazy.
It's got a good fizz.
It's nice. Yes, so Jason and Jake Weaver, who I don't think a lot of you guys, the newer people in the league might not know who Jake and Jason are, but they're from the States and they joined the league a long time ago now. I can't remember, but it was around about the time we started doing GT3 racing. And after a good while, they sort of came to us and they said, we want to do oval racing, and they basically created the Limited Artesian Oval Division. It is the same name. We both, we share the same name, but it is a different league, and it is their league. They own it, they run it. We don't have anything to do with it.
We have no control in it whatsoever. We said, do you want to set up a channel in our Discord? And they said, actually, no, we'd rather set up our own Discord. So we're like, okay, cool with that. And they have their own admin, their own stewards, and they pick their own seasons. And I was just looking in their Discord, actually, and they've picked up just under 200 people in there by the looks of it at this point in time.
Very nice, yeah.
Discord. So it's been fun to watch that develop and grow over the many seasons that they've ran.
And it's a nice thing for them to have said, why we would like to use the same name, because it just shows you how much they enjoyed the LOA and the sort of family atmosphere that we do have.
Yeah, I mean, given the amount of involvement we've had in their running of their league, they could have called it what they like. I mean, aside from the name, we've not done anything. Aside from show up occasionally with some of our road ruffians to crash their races.
Which is always really good fun. If you can handle a late night, because they race about midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning sometime, on a Saturday in the UK. So if you can handle it, then it's well worth racing. And you will find a couple of familiar names. You'll probably find Chris White over there, Lawrence, as we talked about earlier.
Alex Murphy sometimes.
Yep. Keith Schooling, who I've known for a long time from slot car racing, as I've known Ollie Walker actually as well, and Lawrence. So Yeah, you will find them over there sometimes. And Chris is a good shout. His nickname is the Recruiter on the Discord, because he is out there pounding the drum for the LOA all the time and encouraging people to come and visit and join and race. So that's been really nice. Light that keeps going off. It's a bit weird. It's a brand new light bulb. That's annoying. Who else have we got? Like, Russell's brought a load of people into our league, hasn't he? Russell Bright.
Yeah. Thank you, Russell. I mean, he's not the only one now doing it, but racing their point of view and then putting up their point of view of our races on YouTube or on Twitch. The Risky Boys as well. They do it. Not so much recently, but they did it a lot in the old days. They were all very entertaining streams.
Yeah,
the Risky Racing streams. Steve Greening in a towel.
Classic.
My dad's sponsorship. But yeah, we had an Inflix recently as well. I won't mention everybody because I'll miss people, but the Llamas, obviously Dom records his races sometimes. And hopefully La Broca Racing will get on the grid. Hopefully I said that right.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it, to be fair. Yeah. We haven't mentioned Steve Pepper either, who has been...
There's too many people to mention. I can't keep track here. I bet you've written a list down, and you've
I haven't,
been more
actually.
prepared.
No, not at all. No, but I really want to shout out Steve and the Cool Camels, because Steve Pepper has been doing our thumbnails for the last season at least. So all of the nice thumbnails with the fancy edging and stuff is Steve's work.
Because we've said it for seasons that we really ought to have a bit of a uniformity to our thumbnails, because they look like a big old patchwork quilt that like several generations have knitted together. They ought to be the same. So it's good that finally someone has got control of that. Yeah,
exactly. And he's been really good, and he's been doing a lot of commentary with Mark Innes as well. So another one we need to say a big thank you to is Mark and to Steve, obviously. So yeah, thanks guys. So God, there's a lot of people who say that we've
I mean, I really do appreciate that they're doing the commentary. But we have to also just not mention our old commentary team from GT3. Wonder if they will have a return, Mr. Line and Mr. White.
Yeah. Who some people said that was their favourite commentary team, so maybe they should come back and we can step back and
we can retire and just get on with the racing
or
the running of the league.
I mean, I do like making my sort of oddball videos and that they call the evergreen stuff. That's kind of my sort of bag and the thing I enjoy a lot, because I started making those because I was like, this is the stuff that I wanted to know when I started racing and I couldn't quite find it. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's why I made that stuff. So yeah, shall we wrap up then? It's getting close to an hour.
Yeah, sure. That's everything you wanted to talk about.
Well, what else did we? I wanted to cover. Should we talk about bans?
Yeah.
Race bans. Why? Should we talk about why people got banned from the league? The unpleasant side.
I can't remember all of them, but I mean...
No.
So, I think, like, people get banned. Like, there was a guy recently banned. I just saw all of the hallmarks of things we've seen in the past. Like, argumentative nature, and it's supposed to be fun. And so... I banned him because he carried on an argument which was settled, I thought. And I was just like, this is going to go on, and it's going to happen again in the future. And it's tiring and frustrating and not fun for me trying to run a league. So, yeah, it's not really the place for you.
Yeah.
It just makes it simple.
I think that's fair. And we had one where we had to ban him because he was in a race and he crashed into, I think it was Merrin, and he never responded to a like, we were like, show your side, explain your side, and he never responded, so it was just like, well, that's a boot. We had one guy who showed up with a really racist...
we had a racist guy.
Yeah.
And then we said, look, why have we been I've been kicked. It's because you look like you're a racist. He was like, oh, yeah, that's fair enough. You got me. Jesus.
Yeah. And did we have to ban Mr. Cakebread, or did he leave voluntarily? I can't remember.
I think we kicked him. Again, I mean, he was another one where it was tiring to deal with.
Yeah.
It's not necessary, to have these long, drawn-out, back-and-forth, round-in-circles discussions. And he was fond of those, so eventually... I think he left because of the grass dragging. He was like, I'm not grass dragging, I'm not calling my tyres. It's like, well, we have evidence of you doing it.
Here's 4 laps of you doing it. Yeah.
It's like, well, I didn't know it was a thing. It's literally the hot topic of now.
Yeah.
And you're doing it, so, yeah. I know it hurts you, and it's a shame that we have to do it. But that's what comes with running a Discord of 500 plus people. You're going to have occasionally people that don't fit. And
yeah.
I feel that keeping them around is like a bad apple in a barrel of apples, and it just makes it all go rotten. So it's better just to get rid of the rotten apple, as much as that may be a shame.
Well, I wanted to point out that it's you've because you've got a lot more experience of online communities and running this sort of stuff compared to me, and so
yeah, I've been doing it for like 20 odd years.
Yeah, so you're a bit more jaded, and
you get someone that you just know isn't going to work out.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that I think it's sort of like sometimes I'm a little like, oh, that was a bit quick, but with the Simon one, I thought I was a bit sort of like, oh, maybe we could sort this out, but
yeah, I gave him a chance to. He had a week to respond, and his response was to carry on the argument. So I kind of read the signs there, and
yeah,
I'd already given him the benefit of the doubt and another chance, and he didn't take it. So I was like, well, there you go, you've had your chance. I'm sorry, Simon, if you do listen to this, but it wasn't anything personal. It's too tiring to have such arguments, and it's not fun, and it sucks all the joy out of it. Cause it's a shame, because on the podcast you seem like a nice guy.
Well, this is what I was going to ask you. Is like, most of these people, I don't think there are any. There's no redeeming features or anything like that. But Simon, I thought, yeah, as you say, he seems like a really nice guy.
That was my first impression when I heard him.
Yeah,
and he seemed to fit in the league.
And apart from the argument about the argument about fuel and pit stops in Prime, but so if he was contrite, would you let him back?
If you've got a full apology and yeah, because I doubt that will happen. He probably thinks I was being an arse. I think he was being an arse. I don't think either is going to change their opinion, and unfortunately I'm the one in the power here, so it's my league. I want it to be fun for me, and hopefully fun for everybody that choose to stay here. If it's not fun for somebody, and there's 2 of us, it's going to be them that goes, because I'm the one running the league, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
but yeah, people have apologised in the past and come back, and I haven't stopped that, so I'm not opposed to it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm as I say, I'm a big softie, and I just I don't like it when we have to kick people. I do accept that it's something that has to happen to,
I would say,
keep the harmony.
A necessary evil.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to burying hatchets.
That's the other thing as well, though, isn't it? Because it's the league has grown to this absolute bloody monster, but it's still supposed to be fun, and
yeah, I mean, and I like people to know each other. I don't feel comfortable as growing too much bigger than this, because then we're just another faceless league. It's nice that people have banter and have chat and get on with each other.
Exactly, like the cat chat today. That's been fantastic.
Yes, post pictures of your cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, obviously tonight there's some games going on as well, so sometimes we have Friday night games with a bunch of us, so just not racing, just playing any other games. The flavour of the month, whatever that happens to be, co-op games, or golfing with friends, or drawing silly pictures, Chinese whisper style, all that kind of stuff.
It's called telephone, you racist.
What?
You can't call it Chinese whispers, it's telephone.
It's called Gartic Phone, which we play. Where you draw.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Chinese whispers. Jesus, man. You're not living in the 80s anymore.
Yeah, I am. Basically, on my playlist is 80s music.
Oh, you want to get with the... Oh, no. You see, that's the funny thing. I'm still checking out new music and finding good stuff.
No, it all got rubbish after the 80s.
Listen to Sunday by Sea Lemon. It's a very happy song.
I don't want to. It's all new and confusing.
It's not. It's nice. It's dream pop. It's good.
Mm. So, yeah. Kicking... Did you write anything? We talked about funny articles, rules. Was there anything else? The only thing I wrote down was music, but that doesn't make much sense.
Well, well, music's a big thing for us both.
I think we've kind of skipped it.
Yeah. I snuck, there's a small snippet of one of my band's songs in one of our videos, which I snuck into one just to see if anyone noticed.
I used to sneak in things into the videos, and then you and Jim would complain at me for it. I thought it was funny, but you didn't.
I think I sometimes have delusions of grandeur with the videos, like they need to be this. The race broadcasts, I've always assumed they were like this professional thing. It's kind of like Chaz when I've watched a couple of streams recently of Chaz Draycott doing, and he's commentating on stuff for Ben Chowcroft and Rob Miller. That race that Rob Miller was in the other day, the Porsche GB one, and it's got that air of professionalism and things. And I always wanted to sort of aim for that with our racing, but then we sort of like sometimes we just go off the rails and just have.
I think it's nice to stick an Easter egg in there or have a bit of a tangent. You know,
I don't disagree with you.
Dave or Mark with their funny facts. It's all fun.
I started that. Don't you dare. That was
well,
me.
and apparently you didn't, because it's all got to be professional.
Well, that's the...
But in conclusion, this thing has grown from a few friends to a lot of more friends. 500 friends. And we just want to have good racing. And
we do.
And, yeah, just we'll get on. And
GG3 at Silverstone, it was the round 1. I think it's probably round season 3. That's when the silly facts thing started, because we thought it's going to be a long race. We didn't know how much entertainment there would be. So I said, well, let's come up with a few facts each to keep us entertained. And that's where the farm shop thing started. Because I said that there was a farm shop on the outside of Farm Corner. And Dave actually believed that. He would have thought that was a real thing. So,
oh, you know, it sounds plausible.
Yeah. It was good. Good times.
Cool. Right.
Cool.
Well, that's been an hour of chatting.
It's a good hour of chatting, yeah. Do let us know if you enjoyed this episode of Scrape Metal and Roll. It was a bit different. It's something I really wanted to do, because I wanted to have a chat with Jules and give you guys a bit of a flavour of who we are and where we come from. So, yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. And Jules, thanks for being on. That was fun.
You're welcome.
It's
nice
always
chatting with
nice having you. Yeah. Yeah, because we don't get to see each other too much. Thanks for listening, everyone, and see you on track soon. Take care.
Drive safe.